It's time to step inside the Octagon with your host, Ike Feldman.
Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of round number one, Dean has called a stop to this contest based on a doctor's stoppage. Declaring the winner by TKO, Dustin the Diamond Poirier.
Yes. What is up? What is up? Octagon fans of Ike Feldman. What is up, brothers, sisters, everybody in between and far behind, far ahead, whatever you guys want to be. I don't care. I love you no matter what. Thank you guys for joining me for another epic hour-long ride. 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. It is your boy, Ike Feldman, talking more mixed martial arts or combat sports, because I will cross over into boxing. I'm sure there will be a WWE headline that I can't resist but give my opinion for. So bear with me if it's 90% mixed martial arts. Sorry, I can't give you guys 100%. I can only give my family 110%, people. Give me a break. I'm out here supporting my baby mama and my baby's mama. That's it. What's going on, guys? It's a thirsty Thursday. It's a beautiful day here on Strong Island. I'm glad you guys are, well, I hope you're outside doing stuff and not inside surrounded by soundproof padding and low lighting and sitting in an uncomfortable chair like your boy Ike. I hope you're outside doing stuff. I've always made it a goal of mine to want to break the radio stereotype. What is the radio stereotype, Ike? I'll tell you, Johnny. The radio stereotype is people who are free from being seen. That's why they're on radio. People who are allowed to indulge in all types of treats that they can shove down their pie hole, pun intended. People who just say the loudest things, who, if you ask them to catch a ball, they would probably break their nose. If you ask them to run up a flight of stairs, they'd probably crack their ankle. People, if you asked to throw a roundhouse, they would probably run around an apartment facility or some type of housing structure because they don't know what the hell they're doing, what the hell they're supposed to do leading up to that moment. And why am I going to break? And why are you going to break the radio stereotype, Ike? Johnny, you're just on point with your questions today. Thanks, Johnny. You can get off my lap, son. I'm not Santa Claus. So, to inform you guys and Johnny, the way I'm breaking the radio stereotype is to be an active person. I'm not always surrounded by soundproof padding, dim lighting, and uncomfortable chairs. I'm mainly an active guy. I'm mainly a guy who gets after it, brother. I'm a guy who wants to run with my dog, challenge myself, whether it's seriously do rounds of 5-minute sprints up and down hills, do beach sprints, throw footballs to invisible targets. Just be an outdoorsman, basically, folks. And I enjoy the outdoors because there's nothing like it. And I definitely attract to MMA fighters. I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing it back to combat sports. Reel them in, boys. Reel them in. I definitely attract to the MMA fighters who are all about the nature. Fighters who you see training in the mountains of Colorado, Dagestan, the beautiful beaches of Brazil or Hawaii, the cold, frigid settings like a Russia, a Canada, are definitely find it cool to see a fighter connect with nature. That's what I definitely try to do. Even living in the city for shout outs to Brooklyn. Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? It's a little east of me. Excuse me, west. I didn't know which way I was going. Didn't know which way I was going. It's a little west of me. And even when I was in Brooklyn, I would definitely seek out nature, whether that was Prospect Park or Central Park, or look for fields, open fields, so I could see the sun. I definitely love my nature. And you should too. Get outside. You can listen to me in your ears while you're outside. I figured it out. I figured it out. You could, okay, I'm not even asking you, let's take it down a notch. I'm not even asking you guys to do wind sprints up and down hills, to throw footballs at invisible targets, take your dogs on sprints. I'm not asking you guys to do that. At the bare minimum, what you can do is drink your Mai Tais, your gin and tonics, your mojitos, all your summer drinks outside at least. Put it in a travel coffee mug. Hint, hint, it's not coffee. You're getting drunk instead of productive. Make sure this is a walking distance from your house as well. I'm not condoning drinking, driving somewhere, drinking some more, getting in your car and driving back. That's not a good idea either. I am condoning good mixed drinks outdoors in a nice outdoor setting somewhere within walking distance. Now, not everybody may have that luxury. If you are in a city, and I can attest to this experience, I would take a train down south to Coney Island, to Rockaway Beach, and bring some beers in my bag and enjoy a nice sunset. Bring some food, pizza, hero sandwiches on the beach, and drink some nice brouhahas as I'm chilling out, enjoying nature, and occasionally running into the ocean like a madman. Mommy, I don't want to be like Ike anymore. He's a drunk. That's right, Johnny. Put down the drink. And you know who else has to put down the drink? Segway alert. Segway alert. It doesn't even matter if he segues. Well, thank you, Bane. And go yourself, Johnny. You know who should put down the drink? Conor McGregor. This guy cannot shut up. He literally can't shut up. He has a cast around his leg. He's wheeling himself. I think this thing's motorized because he's got it like that. He's got a motorized scooter made for somebody who's got one leg. Cool invention. Conor McGregor is still not going away quietly, folks. This could be the end. Stephen A. Smith might be ahead. Oh my God. I had too many almonds before this. Note to self, don't eat nuts. Oh my goodness. Stephen A. Smith might be ahead of this one. He said that the peak of Conor McGregor is way behind us. And I said, nah, maybe he'll just slunk away into the darkness and we may not hear anything from him for 3 months and then he'll come back humble. This dude is 4 days out of getting his ass kicked, being embarrassed in front of the world. And he's still freaking talking. He still can't shut up. I'm going to find the clip. Conor McGregor. No such thing as being down and out. Oh, wait. I don't have the clip. I have the clip. I have the clip where Paul Felder lights him up. All right, guys. It is a thirsty Thursday. What can I tell you? But let's hear that. That's even more juicy. That is way more juicy. So, Paul Felder, what I've been doing the past 3 days was, I thought, just exhausting this fight in every angle of it. The aftermath, the trash talk, everything around this fight. And I thought I did a good job putting hammer to nail and just sending McGregor on his way. But this dude he won't go away. Like I said earlier in this week, he is the Joker. He always gets the last laugh. He can never lose. There's always a twist. He's always zigging when everybody else is zagging. But my boy, the Irish Dragon, Milwaukee's finest, or excuse me, Philadelphia's finest. He trains at Milwaukee. Paul, the Irish Dragon Felder, had this to say on the UFC Roundup show with Michael Chiesa co-hosting. Paul Felder put the nail in the coffin. I love it.
I know we talk about this, and it's not a street fight. It's not life and death, really. Obviously, in boxing and MMA, there's injuries that can cause people to literally die. So to talk about that kind of stuff is just disgusting, and we've mentioned that a million times. What he said was wrong. But you're on the ground with your leg broken in half at the bottom, threatening to kill somebody, to a man who's just dominated you twice in a row now. He could walk up and soccer kick you in the mouth and knock all your teeth out and leave you for dead on that canvas. You're the one who is in a position to get killed, Conor, in that spot. Show some humility. Listen, this sport is violence. I get that. We're supposed to beat the crap out of each other, knock each other out. But at the end of the day, it's not about murder. It's not about your family. Leave those things out of your mouth or get the hell out of the octagon.
Get him! Get him! Get him! My favorite part.
With your leg broken in half at the bottom, threatening to kill somebody, to a man who's just dominated you twice in a row now.
Man.
He could walk up and soccer kick you in the mouth and knock all your teeth out and leave
It's true.
you for dead on that.
They leave you for dead. That's right. Oh my gosh. Get him, Paul Felder. Get him. Conor, you just can't shut up. I think he did like a 6-minute. Here, I'll just Conor McGregor, because they said it was on his Instagram. He just can't shut up. He literally can't shut up. And good job by Paul Felder. Good job.
What's up, guys?
Conor
Now
McGregor
at the hospital.
wheeling himself down.
After getting settled into my apartment, I'm going to be here for a while. It's close to the doctors. And they have one of these things to get around on. And I keep the foot elevated.
It's 6 minutes. I'm not going to play the whole thing.
Keep a positive mindset. You know, we've got this. Look, here we go this way. We've got this. I had a couple of ups and downs.
So he's in.
I had a great birthday yesterday. I appreciate all the birthday messages.
He's in LA.
Thanks so much for
I
that.
think he has a spot out there. Probably LA, Vegas. He's got spots.
Euphoric. The job was done. It was a great job that was done on it. And I was like, yes, I've got this. It's going to be easy. I'm going to do this, no problem. And then I hit a wall. Then I was like, you know.
Confidence is toned down.
I'm in a lot of pain. My mobility is, you know, I'm going to be like this for a while. It's going to take, it's not going to be a few days or even a few weeks. It's going to be a bit of time. So I kind of went into a little rut after that, but yeah, no.
I think he admitted that he was kind of depressed.
That I'm going to be on, and I'm aware of them now, and I'm just a bit more happy, a bit more accepting of it, and you know, motivated to keep going. Like I said, we got out of the hospital on my birthday, got some fresh air. This is actually the first bit of fresh air I've got. And just keep all my business partners to go and do this, and I'm gonna do this.
Fast forwarding.
The leg is better than ever. Davidson, the head doctor of the UFC, they knew my leg. I had a.
Oh, here we go.
The leg broke. At what point did the
Your
leg
head
break?
coach said he knew when it was
Ask
broke.
Dana
How are
White,
you the
ask
only
the
one that
UFC,
doesn't?
ask Dr. Davidson, the head doctor of the UFC. They knew
You're
my
being
leg. I had
delusional,
stress
Conor.
fractures in my leg going into that cage. There was debate about pulling the thing out because I was sparring with no shin pads and I kicked the knee a few times. So I had multiple stress fractures in the shin bone above the ankle. And then I have trouble with the ankle anyway, do you know what I mean, throughout.
Let's just go back to this.
I know we talk about this, and it's not a street fight. It's not life and death, really. Obviously, in
Conor.
boxing and MMA, there's injuries that can cause people to literally die. So to talk about that kind of stuff is just disgusting, and we've mentioned that a million times. What he said was wrong. But you're on the ground with your leg broken in half at the bottom, threatening to kill somebody, to a man who's just dominated you twice in a row now. He could walk up and soccer kick you in the mouth and knock all your teeth out and
Leave you for dead, man.
Canvas.
Oh, I love it. Paul Felder, you get the Thirsty Thursday award. And I know you like to have a good time, brother. Oh, man, that was freaking great. What the hell, Conor? What are we doing here? Wow. Wow. Yeah, so Conor can't shut up. And Dustin Poirier does something I did not like in response to just stealing the world's attention and walking away from UFC 264 with the victory. He's walking around parading himself with a t-shirt that it says McGregor, and where the G is supposed to be, there's a person in a wheelchair. It's the wheelchair symbol that you see on handicaps. And man, I expected Poirier to be bigger than that. Obviously, no audio to play for a t-shirt or a photo, so go look for it somewhere. I tried looking for it, but I mean, this all comes back to Conor McGregor just not shutting up. He literally just couldn't keep his mouth shut, and this is all happening because he just couldn't be humble, could not be humble, and he's, as you guys heard in the video post doctor visit, he seems like his confidence is at least turned down a bit. And that may still be just off the charts for most people, but for the one and only Conor McGregor, for him to be talking in that humming of a tone, it speaks volumes. And at least he's wound down a little. And maybe when he finally gets home, because he still has the high of his birthday, as you heard, and defending his stance, maybe that's why it's going to take a while. I just want the man to grow up. And everybody's ready. Everybody's ready for this fourth fight. Can't do a fourth fight. Dustin controls his own destiny. Dustin's supposed to fight Charles Oliveira, who Charles Oliveira is doing other things. He's being a winner and a champion in other walks of life. I'll play that clip for you later. But if Dustin Poirier beats Charles Oliveira, whenever they book the fight, fall, winter, late winter, if he beats Charles Oliveira, he at least pushes himself 6 to 8 months further away from fighting Conor McGregor for a fourth time and getting into this mess. And for the UFC's sakes, I think they should want to avoid that fight because of how messy it can get in terms of not only the verbal attacks, which everybody's freaking aware of at this point, but the fact that if camps or teams cross over, I don't even know what fighters in Conor McGregor's team that Dustin Poirier's team would have to kind of slap up in the halls. I see Conor McGregor just being the the sole proprietary of chaos, as he always is. If you look back to the UFC 223 bus incident, he throws a bus. He throws a bus through a dolly. That'd be impressive. They wouldn't arrest him. They would ask him to fight crime. He throws a dolly through a bus, and you just see this whole slew of yes men and minions just following him like an ant army. He throws the bus, 20 of his posse gather there. He runs away. They gather there. He runs out of the building. They follow. It's silly. At least Floyd Mayweather's entourage, if you cause crime, you become a posse. If you're there just to promote, hang out, protect, associate with, you're an entourage. That's the difference, in my opinion. Floyd Mayweather has a bigger entourage than Conor McGregor's posse. Conor McGregor needs to start modeling his career and life after a Floyd Mayweather. But it's hard because we never saw Floyd lose. He did such a great job at picking his fights. And that's the difference. One difference of boxing versus mixed martial arts. Boxing, you can, as the fighter, you are the promoter. You are 50% of the fight. Money Mayweather or Team Mayweather, whatever it is, promotions. They pick Andre Berto. They pick Manny Pacquiao when they want. Ricky Hatton when they want. Shane Mosley when they want. If you are the A side, especially Canelo Alvarez, they had him jumping through a lot of hoops before that fight. Caught him early in his career, made him cut a lot of weight. You control all the cards. Conor McGregor, while he is still the most powerful athlete in mixed martial arts, he pales in comparisons to the power of the UFC. And he had a chance to, who knows why not? Maybe he, as confident as he is, he didn't have the confidence to separate himself from the UFC. Pre-Floyd, post-Floyd, never. Now Conor McGregor needs the UFC as much as they need him. I mean, you could say he needs them more now. After this loss, he needs them more. Just a little. Maybe it's 55-45 in favor of the UFC. Leading up to this trilogy fight, which is probably the biggest fight of 2021, the UFC needed Conor McGregor's colossal yearly pay-per-view event. So if you guys disagree that the UFC does not need Conor as much as he needs them, give me a call. 646-820-9848. Because I believe Conor McGregor needs them. He needs the UFC. And it would have been wise to start that McGregor Promotions for the Floyd fight. Here. Does at Notorious the UFC more need him following hashtag UFC 264. Call me 646-820. Yeah, it's kind of spiraled down for McGregor. He needs to figure it out. And it starts with training. He seems like he was just excited to get out of the hospital. Excited to start another new chapter in his life and his training. But when he gets home and he gets comfortable and he just nestles up and he makes business calls and he makes more money that's rolling in, not from his, I mean, essentially everything's from his physical work, but now moving forward, everything is from word of mouth, and his mouth is his money. And when he's making that money just with his mouth, because his fists aren't making him money anymore, maybe it settles into the back of his brain that, hey, I need to change something. What I'm doing here is a broadcast sending signals to Conor McGregor. Be more like Khabib. Take a page from his book. Be more like Poirier. Be more like Diaz. Take a page from each of your past opponent's book. Be more like Floyd. Be more like Eddie Alvarez. Take a page from each of your opponent's book and grow. A stagnant fighter is a boring fighter, and everybody's going to tune in to see what Conor McGregor can do. But now that we have the likes of Stephen A. Smith and you give them another year under their belt, a year from now is when everybody says Conor McGregor's returning. You give people like Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman, Chael Sonnen, Michael Bisping, Errol Hawani, the expert of expert combat sport talkers. Yes, I said Stephen A. Smith because he is learning how to put his words together and steal techniques and positions and career trajectories from his co-host, which is what an excellent speaker and public commentator does. You learn and you learn and you learn. And Stephen A. Smith in the last, I think he got involved with MMA in 2018, October. So he's coming on about 2.5 years of being in the MMA space. Max Kellerman, while he is an expert when it comes to the sweet science boxing, he is very green and maybe a step behind Stephen A because his boxing ego is in the way. He's trying to break down technique and positions, and he's kind of stepping on his own memory because he's misremembering history and records and past fights of fighters while he's putting together his thoughts. But you give him another year, he'll figure it out. These are expert, the elite of the elite. The elite of the elite. Lose. Shout outs to Russell Peters. You give these guys a year to compile thoughts, takes, study Conor McGregor's Instagram because that's all they have to work off of, social media and past fights. They're going to get sharper. It was very cool to see Max Kellerman, who's talking about Conor McGregor's technique from Jose Aldo fight. Now, I know that fight was almost 5 years ago, and it's like, hello, Max, any day now. Thanks for joining us. It's no longer breaking news. But again, I commend him for being a part of this beautiful wave that is mixed martial arts, that the UFC is and has always been at the forefront of. Max is talking about technique from UFC 194, and it's pretty cool to hear with Chael Sonnen. And again, I don't think I've publicized this. Errol Hawani, going back to Vox Media, MMAfighting.com, going to the Ringer and BT Sport is awesome, man. It is freaking awesome. Because the sport was already covered and is covered now by everybody at ESPN. Chael Sonnen, Michael Bisping, Max Kellerman, Stephen A. Smith, Brett Okamoto, Mark Ramundi, Eric Jackman, Phil Murphy, Jeff Wagenheim. The sport is covered over there. Good. Now, you guys lost your Tom Brady or Terry Bradshaw, depending on where we are in the MMA media timeline of history. You lost the biggest winner the sport's ever seen in terms of media coverage from Ariel Helwani, inside knowledge, being in the know, being connected. But that gap being exposed, that space being revealed for media coverage, because Ariel Helwani was doing about 4 shows, post-fight, pre-fight, radio show with Daniel Cormier, show with Chael Sonnen, his own interview show, the top fighters in the world, the most relevant fighters. There's a gap now. And my dog wants to fill that gap. Shout outs to Rio. I think we have a delivery. I hope it's a pizza. Hey, take it easy. These Maltesers, man, they think they're the toughest guys in the room. But anyway, are you talking or I'm talking? I'm not getting the peanut butter again. I told you I'm done. I'm trying to do a show here. All right, let me unmute this. All right. Yeah, so the space that the UFC is trying to fill, that media members are trying to fill in the absence of Ariel Helwani will be interesting to see. And you're seeing it. Max Kellerman stepping up, Chael Sonnen stepping up, Brett Okamoto stepping up. I love it. Ariel Helwani is the Michael Jordan, the Kawhi Leonard. I know he's a huge basketball fan. He is a championship, the number one guy in MMA media. And him going to other companies to spread the good word of mixed martial arts. One, it's good because there's no, conflict of interest. The fact that he worked for ESPN for 3 years and was covering the UFC, he can't really reveal the roaches and kind of kick the log and show everybody what's underneath. Because then the Disney executives would get involved. It wouldn't just be Dana White, it would be Disney executives. And as much journalist intent and dignity that Ariel Helwani has, he's also a smart guy and would never rock the boat that much. Can you blame him? A good thing of him going to a company outside of Disney and ESPN is that there is no conflict of interest. He can speak his truth, as we've seen more and more and more as the weeks go by. Helwani's given more insight about his tenure at ESPN and the behind the scenes interactions with Dana White that are pretty wild. And he's the number one guy. Him going somewhere else raises the tide for everybody else. There's companies that need more coverage, need more content, need more speakers and educated consumers of mixed martial arts. So it's a good job by Helwani. He's coming home. He's coming home. Tell the world that he's coming home. Let the rain wash away. He's coming home. He's coming home. I'm back where I belong. He's been waiting for too long. Oh, please tell me this is the right song. Ah, this is the third verse harmony. Stop. I was trying to play the coming home. There's a part 2. Nobody told me that there was a part 2. Nobody plays the part 2. What the F? All right. Let's head to the social media boards. My goodness. People, I'm not drunk. I'm drinking orange juice. There's no what's the orange juice? Screwdriver? Is the orange juice and vodka drink? This is just orange juice. I don't know why. Not sharp. I didn't expect to talk. No, that was going to be an excuse. That was going to be an excuse. Let's head to the social boards. This comes from @SnackGod. In relation to my question, what the hell was my question? Does Conor McGregor need the UFC more than they need him following UFC 264? This comes from @SnackGod. Yes, because the UFC won't tell Conor to dial back any of his sideshow act because he still will get attention and clicks. UFC can still market as well as still put on another boxing free. That wasn't the question. That was not the question. I'm not asking if they could still make money off Conor McGregor. Come on, Mark. Snack God. I won't give away his name. I'll just his handle. Come on, Snack God. What are we doing? Let's move on. Let's move on. I should have never just talked Conor McGregor. It's beating a dead horse. I mean, come on. Nick Diaz, a real motherfucker, returns. Let's go. Rematching Robbie Ruthless Lawler. They rematched about 17 years ago. I forget what UFC it is. It might be UFC 80, UFC 63 or something. The rematch is done. Nick Diaz does not have to put down the joint. He is celebrating and very happy because the UFC, it's basically the Diaz rule. If you guys aren't familiar with the Diaz brothers, stop listening to the show. I don't know why you're listening this far in the show if you have no idea who the Diaz brothers are. In 2015, January, UFC 183, if I remember, Anderson Silva returns from the leg break injury. This is kind of apropos for this episode. Faces Nick Diaz in just an awesome fight. Like, who wouldn't want to see this matchup? Nick Diaz, his comfortable weight is welterweight 170. The fight against Anderson Silva was at 185 pounds. Don't I sound better when I'm talking like actual facts and stuff? I'm not trying to like piece together some kumbaya stuff for Conor. Conor, get your crap together, bro. But anyway, Diaz fought that fight. Silva fought that fight. Silva tested positive for steroids. Nick Diaz tested positive for God's green earth, marijuana. They originally were going to suspend him for 5 years. I think the sentence was reduced to 3 years. And in that time, he started a chain of dispensaries, his own strain, and everything that comes with being a pothead. And he's a successful dude. He's a UFC guy who challenged for a UFC title against George St. Pierre, a guy who was a respectable champion in Strikeforce, a respectable league that the UFC bought out in 2010. Strikeforce, you go look at the fighters that came from Strikeforce. The list is extensive. Tyron Woodley, Luke Rockhold, Jacare Souza, Gegard Mousasi, Daniel Cormier, Alistair Overeem, Bigfoot Silva, just to name a few. Josh Thompson, Nick Diaz, Paul Daly. Strikeforce MMA, which was broadcasted on Showtime over a decade ago, was a fantastic organization. So Nick Diaz is a big deal. Y'all must have forgot who he is, but he's been in some battles and he's a legend. And he's even more legendary for the stuff that happened outside of the cage of going toe-to-toe with the UFC and the Nevada State Athletic Commission. I mean, I say toe-to-toe, but I don't think he really fought it. That he was like, you guys want to suspend me? He just threw up the middle finger and peaced out for a couple of years. You got to respect that. And he was in his prime years. He was 31 in 2015 when the suspension happened. And now he's, I guess that'd make him 36. And he missed a lot of years. You could say pessimistically, but optimistically, he also has not that many miles on his body. And ironically, I say miles, this dude does triathlons in his offseason. Him and Nate. These guys are superior cardio freaks. And at their worst day, they can outrun Conor McGregor. Nick Diaz could have a joint in his mouth and a N95 mask over that joint, and he could still outrun Conor McGregor. He might do better with the joint in his mouth. What would you call that? It's called hotboxing. Yeah, he would basically be high as hell, but Conor McGregor would not be able to keep up. But the good news, Nick Diaz is back. Hashtag Nick Diaz Army. Let's go. I'm very excited. And everybody's told me, this guy Snack Out, actually, the guy who's commented on the show post, he calls them the Diva Brothers. And while that's a good name, a good take and a funny name, it's not true. These guys are actually pioneers in the sport that basically their ringtone should be, we're not gonna take it. We're not gonna take it. We're not gonna take it anymore. We're not gonna take it. We're not gonna take it. We're not gonna take it. Here we go. Woo! I did it. Saved myself. Redemption, baby. And that's what Nick and Nate Diaz. Not so much Nate. I mean, he took it off a 3-year hiatus from 2016 UFC 202 to UFC 241. Took off 3 years because, again, I'm sure the UFC didn't pay him what he thought he deserved. And he deserved a lot. He is a huge part of Conor McGregor's success. And you could say the biggest part, because Conor McGregor had that bounce back fight and that epic performance against Nate in the rematch at UFC 202. Conor was then able to turn that and spin that forward into a champ fight against Eddie Alvarez because of the victory. And then spin that 2 victories in a row. One of the biggest fights of all time, Floyd Mayweather against Conor McGregor. So these guys have not taken it from the UFC. They give it to the UFC. The UFC is on all fours. The Diaz brothers got that long joint that they like to ash out on the UFC's arses. Now, I'm sure Nick Diaz didn't get the deal. All right, Twisted Sister. I'm sure Nick Diaz didn't get exactly the deal that he wanted or that he thinks he's worth. The UFC always wins in that sense. Dana White's playing that song when he's negotiating with the UFC, with the Diaz brothers. We're not going to take it. But The fans win. The fans win. Nick Diaz is back in September, co-main event, the rematch against Robbie Lawler, and I love this. This is as close as you can get to a warm-up fight for Nick Diaz. Now, the UFC wants Nick Diaz to win here. If he dominates, they're going to be throwing a top 5 welterweight his way. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Jorge Masvidal, maybe a Gilbert Burns, Vincente Luque, which is dangerous. But if Diaz feels he's ready, then he's ready, because these guys are gamers. They're fighters. In the same sense, they have that McGregor trait that they never lose. There's no such thing as a loss. For example, look at the last pay-per-view event before this past one, UFC 263. Nate Diaz was getting his ass beat for 24 plus minutes. Turns it on in the last minute. Sends Leon Edwards reeling. Almost finished the fight. Maybe needed 30 to 60 more seconds. But took an absolute beatdown. And what do you know? The story is not Leon Edwards getting the title fight for beating the legend, Nate Diaz, for dominating Nate Diaz for 4+ rounds, putting on an absolute clinic. The story is that Nate Diaz almost won. And, you know, he wears his victories and losses a lot better than Conor McGregor. When I mentioned before that McGregor should take a page out of the Diaz or every other fighter that he's fought book, dude, just look like you enjoy it. Don't look like you're being a schmuck and you're kind of diminishing your opponent's skill level. Nate Diaz seemed very calm in that loss. Seemed almost just happy with himself. Proved something that he could go 5 rounds of getting absolutely beaten down and prove that you can't kill the man. That he literally has to be beaten down and dragged out. Or as Paul Felder likes to say, soccer kicked in the teeth. Now, guys, we only had one reaction or interaction in the show from the Snack God. He's my boy. Whether I like him, and I guess the interaction from my little Maltese, Rio. But again, guys, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Ictagon.com, Ictagon everything. Give me a call. I want to hear your lovely voices. I want to hear your takes. 646-820-9848. I'm going to try to have on the first guest of this week and the first guest of this revamped Ictagon, my boy, who is also a doctor and a foot doctor, Dr. Rosario, and he will give some insight about what to expect from Conor McGregor down the road, how fast he is, I guess incorporating an elite athlete's recovery time as opposed to a guy who is a radio guy, who doesn't go outside, who doesn't enjoy the weather. You guys like that? You like that full circle? And another lesson we learned today is don't swallow nuts. Don't eat almond nuts a couple minutes before you're going to be speaking for an hour straight. Man, that was some scratchy, ratchet ass almond skin that was just picking apart. I was picking apart my throat. After 3 rounds of a unanimous decision, almonds win. Yes, the almonds won. They beat my ass. Sorry to scare you, Rio. Now he's looking at me like, dude, I'm trying to just take it easy, brother. Why don't you take it easy, bud? Just a couple minutes left in the Thursday edition of the Ictagon. Want to talk about Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. 3. Is it a trilogy if it's not a rubber match? If it's not 1-1? Is it Do they call it a trilogy? I don't know. But the third fight for Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder was originally supposed to be set for 2 days from now, July 17th, I believe in Vegas. But I think, yeah, Tyson Fury got coronavirus. We obviously hear uh the different ways it affects different people. Your stories, sometimes people just get a high fever, headaches. Other stories where they've just been beaten and dragged down for months on end, and it's hard for them to get back to their normal selves. I've heard that a lot with fighters. Some can just shake it off. Others, it's months of battling their health. So I'm not going to kill Fury for pushing this back. This will give Wilder more time to fix what was wrong and clean up the mistakes. Yeah, Deontay Wilder got dominated, and he's never been pressured like that in the last fight, February 2020, and the first fight, I think it was December of 2018, maybe. We all know Wilder landed that crazy, crazy punch. I think it was the 10th round that sent Fury just dead. And then, like Lazarus, he rose from the dead, like that Undertaker gif. And he beat the count. And then the rematch was set. And he outboxed him after getting viciously knocked down. So that's a huge claim there. I mean, maybe it was a mental letdown. We know that Wilder has to defeat those mental demons. It's never a physical problem. It seems like it's always mental. The excuses that rolled out of the second fight was just annoying and over and over and over, and it was pretty disappointing and sad to hear an athlete of his caliber and an elite worldwide superstar to make a laundry list of excuses following the actually, it wasn't a loss the first fight. It was a draw the first fight, so that's why they did the second. And Tyson Fury just put a whooping on Wilder, and Wilder was just screaming at everybody. He was getting dominated. He made excuses about his costume, which he looked like evil Megatron. Well, I guess Megatron is evil. Evil Optimus Prime. He's walking out with a 40-pound vest. Like, whose fault is that? And if it's too heavy when you're in the locker room, take it off. You got great abs, beautiful physique. Why the hell do you need to? Why did you think it was a good idea? Just one excuse after another excuse after another excuse. Pretty sad to see, but they're running it back. I'm surprised. I am very surprised they're doing the third fight this soon. And you know what? I'm not surprised because it's boxing. They have a weird scheduling method. If you fight somebody, then you have to disappear for a year and go fight somebody else before you want your rematch. Always that happens. Always. What do they call like a warm-up fight? I mentioned before how Nick Diaz is coming back and Robbie Lawler is essentially a warm-up fight. This is what they do in boxing. But for Fury versus Wilder 3 to happen after the second one, and that's both of their first fight back from that. Cool. Maybe Anthony Joshua wasn't available to fight. Not sure. I know Joshua's fighting. I think he's fighting the Russian. Is it Pulik? I believe his name, or Uslik. I'm going to get more into boxing. If you guys want to follow boxing news and be entertained while following boxing news, Dan Canobio, a product of Long Island. So shout out to Strong Island fighters and reporters. We are the best. In my opinion, the best of all time. I will try to effort. I will effort to get Dan on the show. He's a young up and comer in the world of combat sports. Really fun follow. Puts together really good stuff. Again, guys, this is the end of the Thursday show. We had some cleanup spillage going on in this show. Cleanup on aisle everywhere. It wasn't as clean as I wanted it to be, but I guess this is I don't know. Karma reflects or whatever Dustin Poirier said. Yeah, not a clean show. I'll be back better, stronger tomorrow. Conor McGregor should take a page out of everybody's book and just chill out. Just chill out, brother. You got all the money. You can do anything you want besides fight, which I believe you don't want to fight anytime soon. You're on the high of pain medication and getting released from the hospital, and you just couldn't help it. The first thing you do is grab your iPhone 15 and you post a selfie. Hey, look at me, everybody. Still the king of the world. Like, but ain't no rose with you. Ain't no rose with you. Go spend time with your family. Go take it easy. Relax. Enjoy your wealth and fame with class. Please. And Dusting, same way. Enjoy your family, enjoy your wealth and your fame, your newfound fame with class. Stop taking shots. Don't look back or just look forward. If he wants to look back so much, they're going to have this fourth fight. I'm telling you, the way the universe will happen, Charles Oliveira will guillotine, show a proper guillotine to Dustin and Conor. This is how you do it. And he will retain the title. And Dustin will get that fourth fight because that's what he's asking for. With the McGregor shirt, with a wheelchair. Not cool, not fun. We all need to be cool, have more fun, and enjoy octagons. I'll be back better tomorrow. I'll figure out the coming home song. Never knew there was a part 2. Not going to make excuses. That was my fault. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you to the Believe Podcast Network. Shout outs to you. Shout outs to fans, downloaders, subscribers, followers, family, friends. Love you guys. Give me a call. Give me a follow. Let me know you're listening. Honestly, I can't wait to tell you guys off. Peace.